Then the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, one saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, "Release the four angels who are bound in the great river Euphrates." And the four angels who had been prepared for the hour, and day, and month, and year, were released, so that they would kill a third of mankind. The number of the armies of the horsemen was 200,000,000. I heard the number of them, and this is how I saw in the vision the horses and those who sat on them. The riders had breastplates the color of fire and of hyacinth and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses are like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths proceeds fire and smoke and brimstone. Revelation 9:13-17. As we spoke of the last time, the fifth trumpet is sounded by the fifth angel, who has the keys to Hades and death. And by opening the gates of hell, hell on earth has ensued, and escape through death is no longer an option for those who are left behind. For with the fifth trumpet the locusts of the abyss are released, so that they may torment men for 5 harrowing months. And after these months, what happens at the sixth trumpet? As the prophecy says, then the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, one saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, "Release the four angels who are bound in the great river Euphrates." Thus the voice from the four horns of the golden altar gives instruction to the sixth angel. And what is the golden altar? The golden altar is the altar upon which the incense was burnt as a soothing aroma to the Lord. And the incense carries all the prayers of God's people that are placed before the Lord. For as the prophecy says, I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel came and stood at the altar, holding a golden censer, and much incense was given to him, so that he might add it to the prayers of all the saints on the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints went up before God out of the angel's hand. Revelation 8:2-4. And what are the prayers of the saints? As the prophecy says, I saw underneath the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and because of the testimony which they had maintained. And they cried out with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, will you refrain from judging and avenging our blood on those who dwell on the earth? Revelation 6:9-11. And it is at the sixth trumpet that the prayers of martyrs are finally redeemed. And from whom does the command to the sixth angel come from? The command comes from the 4 horns of the altar, which are the 4 angels who have stood before the Lord at the temple from the beginning. For they are Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Phanuel. And these are the 4 angels who have been holding back the 4 winds of God's judgment. For as the prophecy says, after this I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, so that no wind can blow on the earth or on the sea or on the tree. Revelation 7:1. And what is the command to the sixth angel? As the prophecy says, release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates. Thus 4 angels, or winds, who have been held back are finally released for God's final judgment. For they have been bound all this time at the great river Euphrates. Where is the great river Euphrates? The Euphrates was there from the very beginning. For the Euphrates is the fourth river that flowed in the Garden of Eden. As it says at the beginning, "Now a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 rivers. And the fourth river is Euphrates." Genesis 2:10 and 14. And the children of Abraham were given the land up to the Euphrates River. The river flows through the middle of Syria and Iraq and empties into the Persian Gulf. And what happens when the 4 angels bound at the river Euphrates are released? At the 5th trumpet, the 4 angels will kill a half of those who are left behind. For as it says, these 4 angels who had been prepared for the hour and day and month and year were released, so that they would kill a third of mankind. And what happens to the great Euphrates River? At the 6th trumpet, God shall destroy the head of the sea of Egypt through a great earthquake. And then the 4 scorching winds shall dry up the great Euphrates River. For as was prophesied through Isaiah, the Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt, and he will wave his hand over the Euphrates River with his scorching wind, and he will strike it into 7 streams and make men walk over dry shod. Isaiah 11:15. Thus the great river that divides the Middle East shall be dried up, for as it says, the 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river, the Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way would be prepared for the kings from the east. Revelation 16:12. For the Euphrates River shall be dried up by the 4 winds in preparation for the final battle, and Armageddon. And how shall the 4 winds prepare the way for the battle of Armageddon? As the prophecy says, the number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them, and this is how I saw in the vision the horses and those who sat on them. The riders had breastplates the color of fire and of hyacinth and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses are like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths proceed fire and smoke and brimstone. Thus fire and smoke and brimstone shall descend upon those who are behind. What is brimstone? Brimstone comes from the Hebrew word gophreth and the Greek word thion, which means sulfur from the heavens. Where does this sulfur come from? Unlike the previous 5 trumpets, this brimstone is not man-made. For the products of a nuclear holocaust are zirconium and strontium, not sulfur. And scientists have discovered that it was a sulfuric fallout that caused the extinction of dinosaurs. For scientists have concluded that an asteroid impact known as the Chicxulub impact caused the extinction of dinosaurs 66 million years ago. And this Chicxulub impact spewed out about 325 billion tons of sulfur into the air, as reported in the Geophysical Research Letters. And a computerized model of this disaster concludes that this impact inundated the Earth's atmosphere with sulfur trioxide from sulfate-rich marine rocks called anhydrite that were vaporized by the blast. Tiny particles of sulfuric rock were shot miles into the atmosphere. Geologists have discovered a layer of these sulfuric rocks called spherules in a 1/10 inch thick layer throughout the whole world. These spherules descended from out of the atmosphere from 40 miles up and pummeled the whole surface of the Earth 40 minutes after impact. For several hours following the Chicxulub impact, the entire Earth was bathed with intense infrared radiation from ballistically re-entering ejecta, the survival in the first hours of the Cenozoic. The friction of falling sulfur made each spheral and incandescent torch that quickly and dramatically heated the whole atmosphere. For as the prophecy says, the riders had breastplates the color of fire and of hyacinth and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses are like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths proceed fire and smoke and brimstone. Thus at the sixth trumpet, an asteroid impact shall happen, and 1/3 of mankind shall be killed. But woe to the 1/3 of mankind that still remains. For there is still one trumpet blast that remains.